What's up, everybody, and welcome to an all-new episode of Toy Addicts Anonymous. I am Toy Addict, and my co-host here, Carlos, the Badass Reviews.
What's up, dude?
Flexing his guns. What's up, man? So today we're really excited. We're doing it all over again. There's a lot of fun stuff to talk about, but we've got a really special guest on today. We've got Walter the Mad, and you know him from the Cabal, Mythic Legions Cabal. If you know about Mythic Legions, you know who this man is. So what's going on, Walter? How's it going, man?
How's everything, dude?
Not bad. How you guys doing? I'm just relaxing. I just grabbed me a fresh beer and I'm ready to hang out, BS with you guys.
Nice. Awesome, man. Yeah, so welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, by the way, and thanks for the invite. Thanks for everything. I love when, like I was telling you off camera, I just love when people reach out to me and do this type of stuff. And I'm always will stop and do this and have a share time with, story time and all that stuff. So thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. No, and when I started this new channel, like I was telling you off camera, I started doing this Toy Addicts Anonymous, but it was more like a guest type of show. It wasn't a live stream. And it kind of just, I joined forces with Carlos and we're like, let's do this thing together. And it's been really fun and it's been working out really good so far. But the concept of Toy Addicts Anonymous was, I was kind of poking fun at Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. And we were supposed to like discuss the pros and cons of being a toy collector, as far as, some people don't know how to manage their finances. And they'll like not pay like, a bill that's really important just to get like the next wave of Mythic Legions or something, So we would kind of hit those topics at the beginning, but it's kind of transformed into something more cohesive and more fun. And we just basically break down news, we talk about our hauls, the latest pickups that we had and stuff like that. So it's become more of a fun hang.
Yeah.
And, it's a dedicated show. Every Thursday we're doing this, and we're just wanting more and more people. The more the merrier. We've had up to like 5 people at once on the stream, and it's just really fun. So
that's awesome.
We're definitely going to be talking about Mythic Legions and Cosmic Legions, of course. And we just got the recent drop. I know Carlos got it ahead of me because he got the first run, but I just got my Mask of Red Death.
Nice.
And this is a badass figure. I love to customize. I wish I had more time to do it, but I have plans for this guy. That's all I'm going to say. I have big plans for this guy.
Spray paint him yellow and,
we'll see what I'm going to do with him. I hope nobody else has the idea, but it's gonna be dope.
Walter, like,
yeah.
Tell us, like, because some people, I know this show is like being watching on the Cabal, and some of the Cabal members are like on board with the show, but we want for the actual fans that don't know about Mr. Walter Hagen. I'm gonna tell you my experience. I've been fan of Mythic Legions since day one. I was on board on the first Kickstarter, and back in the days when the Cabal didn't exist yet, I was part of the other group, and then we moved to the Cabal with Jeremy and a bunch of other guys. But you, my man, you are the spirit of the Cabal. Like, you are the guy that actually everybody loves, everybody follows. You're kind of like the guy who hypes everything on the Cabal. Your energy in every show, everywhere you go, you have that positive vibe, like for everybody, and it's really contagious and everything. But tell the guys that don't know about the Cabal, the guys that don't know about Mythic Legions, the guys that don't know about Jasper, or Jasper is international now.
He is.
So please tell us, like, who is Walter? Right there.
Man.
That's it.
Man, first of all, you make me blush. I always I'm always grateful, and genuinely like embarrassed at times when I get that kind of introduction, and I appreciate it so much. And man, you start thinking about that, Carlos. Man, you mentioned in some long term stuff. Like, yeah, I was in other groups, and a super fan collector would go to the shows, and started buying figures just like everybody else did from almost day one. I wasn't in part of the Kickstarter since day one, but I've always been a fan of the Four Horsemen Studios way back when McFarlane stuff to current things that I know about that nobody else does. So it's fun, man. It's genuinely exciting at times when people start mentioning stuff like that. Let alone when I started doing Mythic Legions and buying figures, and I just wanted to make I wanted to like genuinely like make a difference in like on Facebook. Like I was, told at times, it's just that's the way the pages are, and collecting pages. You hear all the horror stories from other brands I won't go into, but I didn't want it to be like that. I wanted it to be something different, and honestly, it was just one of those things. Like I just wanted to just have fun and have a good experience and have good people. I wanted a good interaction with people. I wanted to do giveaways. I wanted to just be that guy. Like I just wanted to have fun and bring people with me along the way, and give back to the community and all that kind of stuff. So it was just one of those like just. It came from nothing, and it came from other groups, and I appreciated those other groups. But when it was time to do my thing, and I wanted it to be different, and I just started it. And I did have a different name for like a Facebook page and like a group, but it got like no attention, and it was just kind of a generic toy collecting group. And ironically, it was called similar to what your guys' page is called. It was called like Toy Addicts Anonymous.
Really?
I swear to God. And it was only up for a few weeks, and it was a Facebook page that I created, and I only had a few friends on there, and that was it. And I would post things like Battle Beast and Marvel Legends and Transformers and just stuff that I had, and He-Man and all that kind of stuff. And I just wanted to share what I was collecting and see what other people were collecting too. And I just wanted like, hey, Carlos, look what I got. And you'd show it just like how you guys have with the format of this show. And that's what I honestly wanted. But when my real favorite line really started to take off, and I started buying more and more and more, and making posts and photos of Mythic Legions, I was like, you know what? I changed the title of my page to Mythic Legions Cabal, and I asked the Horsemen, because I had met them at time, and they are like, yeah, there's a few groups out there, you could use the name as long as you're not selling anything and doing this and disrespectful. I go, no, just a fan, and they knew who I was kind of at the time, but not personally. So I started the page and kind of went from there, and then more and more people were joining, and I told people, come to my group as an invite. I tell someone like Carlos and be like, look, come share whatever you want. I'm not going to restrict you. I'm not going to tell you can't, can't post certain things that you like. I'm not going to take stuff down. I'm not going to, ban you for having like a He-Man figure with a skeleton figure. I just wanted people to come share what they were doing, and it really started to kind of take off from there. And it took time, within a year or two, it was up to about 500 people. Then then it get to 1,000, and then it was kind of ironic that at some point people started recognizing and really being proud of the group and being very dedicated to the group, to where it started to feel more like a brotherhood or a community. Or I related it a lot to like a club, like a motorcycle club, because there was a lot of guys, and everybody had that camaraderie and just genuinely wanted to share and be together doing stuff. So
That's
That,
awesome,
that
dude.
that's great. That's great. And the spirit that actually the Cabal have is really unique. Is something that you feel like with family. You
It's
know,
like a
like
brotherhood.
yeah,
Like a
yeah.
it's
brother.
like you know, I have like really like long like time friends like
Mm-hmm.
Ishwar, you know, like people that I just met not too long ago, and I feel that I know them since forever, like Ryan, you know, like
Oh yeah.
everybody. We joke around. Everybody, like when we see each other, like PowerCon, LegionsCon, or whatever. It's like you're like seeing your brother that you never saw like in years. You know, like and you re-encounter with them, and then you just laugh, hug each other, take pictures, talk. Is the community at the Cabal is very unique, I will say,
Yeah.
very unique. And it's like family, you know, like it's pretty much like family. It's really interesting because I've been part of like several groups, and I remember I always said, like, I remember when I was admin at Motu Nation, it was like
Mm-hmm.
10,000 people or something like that.
Yep.
That was at some point, that was chaos, dude. Like, because it's not that easy to manage like group of people, because I mean it's like society. You have, you know, like everything. But the good thing about the Cabal, and what I noticed about the Cabal, is aside from all the different tastes that people can have, or different likes and dislikes, everybody agree with one topic, which is Mythic Legions, the Four Horsemen, and the community. You know, like that's the spirit, and that's what, I mean, it's what makes the difference with the group.
Yeah. It's. I mean, it's not easy. There's ups and downs, and I actually had a conversation with somebody um, today about this kind of thing, and somebody within my friend circle. Um, it's hard to, I don't want to say who, but it's genuinely not a perfect world, and you have to take it with the grain of salt, if you will. That all those cliches, where you have to have a thick skin, you have to be open minded, you have to see all sides of it, and you also have to just be, you can't be happy all the time, but you can't take a lot of the stuff personal, because it is Facebook, it is social media, it is online, and somebody could be having a bad day, somebody could have a great day, somebody could lose their job, somebody could win the lottery. um, but the main thing is to always just I've always tried to like treat everybody with respect and equality, and be super kind to them and polite, and treat them.
Oh, I think he froze. Did
Yeah,
you
we
freeze
just
too? Okay.
see.
I think Walter, I think Walter froze. Damn, that sucks.
Let's wait and see.
Yeah.
Maybe it's his internet.
Yeah. He was telling me that that's the best spot for internet, the kitchen. I don't know.
Maybe he can disconnect or reconnect. I don't know.
Let me send him a private message.
Yeah. Tell him to connect and reconnect again. But in the meantime, guys, uh, I'm gonna show you.
Yeah, he disconnected.
Look at this, Jorge.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, this is the Cavern Dwarf 2 from the new reinforcement wave. For the ones who didn't check yet the review on the Badass Reviews channel,
That's nice.
here you have. It's a great looking figure, dude. I really love this, and I'm really thankful with the Horsemen for sending this figure my way to review. For
That's
all
awesome.
the guys. Yeah, dude, it's this and doing a review for the Horseman is kind of like a dream come true for me. And like, I mean, I'm a huge fan since forever, since Motu Classics, you know, and Gotitropolis, Seven Kingdom, and doing like a review finally for them is kind of like, and take pictures of an exclusive figure, a reveal. That's great. Well,
Let's go around the room. I just want to make sure we give some love to our audience. So we got Dave Orkin, J Mac 77, Alberto Morales, David Williams, Brick Something. We've got Wholesome Warlock. What's up, guys? Welcome. I'm sure we'll be getting Walter back on.
We lost Walter for a little. We're trying to find him.
Walter went off to the Cosmic Legions. He put on his astronaut suit and he went off to space.
but hey, like like what I was telling you and talking to the people now that waiting for Walter.
JD Gibson, what's up, JD Gibson?
JD, how's everything? Yeah, but this figure and the whole wave of the reinforcement is a really cool wave. If I'm not wrong, the wave is gonna be on the 14th. I think it's gonna be for sale. One per customer. It's gonna be a wave. Like I think you need to buy the whole wave of figures.
You have to buy them all. You can't buy them individually.
No, it's gonna be the whole wave, and I think it's $200 and something. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 figures. The wave. I can show you now. I can show the package, the back, finally. But yeah, it's the cool thing is like the last reveal.
Let's see the back.
Okay, so you have the actual Cyclops right there. You have the Templar Knight. You have the Golden Knight. You have this one is new.
It's a vampire, right?
The vampire, yeah, and I love the helmet on this one. This one is new also. And you have the Cavern Dwarf, the one that I reveal on the Badass Reviews YouTube channel and Instagram. And you have this orc right here, this dark orc. And this one right here is new also. And you have the Sentry Silverhorn right here.
That's
which
cool.
is a figure that a lot of people were waiting. It was already a kind of like expensive, but it's really cool and really cool surprise that now they have the opportunity to get that figure back. But yeah, coming back to this dwarf, the Cavern Dwarf 2 is the helmet. Like they use this helmet, which is different from the first edition, and I love this one. This one is the one that is like a Viking helmet.
Alberto says, how hard was it to keep quiet about this wave?
Oh my God, dude. Alberto, dude, let me tell you something. I was dying because I got this figure really early, and I was talking, and they told me, listen, please,
Pablo's here.
Keep it quiet. Oh, what's up, Paulo? Keep it quiet. Don't say anything. The reveal is gonna be on I think my reveal was on the October 5th. It was by my birthday because my birthday was October 2nd. So I was like, oh, so hyped. And the figure was actually, when I got the figure, I put the figure in a box. I did the reveal of the figure, opening the box with you guys. That was live. I did it live. So people
instant reaction and everything.
Yeah, people can see my reaction. When I open it, I was holding it and I opened it, but I was really careful because I was like, oh, if I open the figure and I open the figure where the car back is there, I'm gonna mess it up. So I make sure that when I open the tape, I make sure that it was the clear part in the front. So I was like, okay, fine, I can do it like that. So I didn't see anything, and
Right.
my reaction was like genuine reaction of surprise of this figure. But it was really hard to keep it quiet and then not show all, because I think I was the second one to reveal the figures. I think the first one was the Golden Knight was the first one, and then the second one was the Cavern Dwarf 2. So what's up, Walter?
Oh
Well,
man, my internet decided to just turn off. I'm sorry, you guys.
Don't worry, man. It's cool.
I had to reset my whole router and go
we
curse at it.
We were talking about how hard it was for me to keep the secret of the second reveal of the reinforcement wave.
Oh.
Like, dude, I was telling Jeremy, I was like, listen, dude, this is like having a gender reveal, knowing that knowing the result of the reveal, and people were asking me as soon the Horseman post that it was the Badass Reviews YouTube channel and the Badass Reviews Instagram, and it was Carlos. Everybody was like, dude,
what is it?
Please give me a hint of what it is. Like, I was like, dude, I can't. I feel so bad. I was like, I can't. I can tell you. I know you're going to love it, but I can't tell you.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, yeah, dude. I was biting my tongue, dude. Like, bad.
It's bad. So on that kind of stuff, I get that all the time. And it's even like the Wednesday, it's even like yesterday, the Wednesday type of thing. Like I knew that was coming. And it's hard to not even like hint at it. And one of my favorite things to do online, I love just knowing that kind of stuff. And I'm fortunate to work with the studio and be part of it to where like I get to find out some of this information and from Jeremy and the Horseman and Chris and everybody. And even like, behind the scenes stuff from shipping to, if things got sent out, stuff like that. There's things that like, they're nice enough to like, I'll just ask randomly because I'm in between jobs and I'll be like, hey man, what's going on? This and this. And they'll say like, we're unloading reinforcements wave or something like that. Right.
Yeah.
And they'll send me a photo of them working at the trailer and I'm like, oh dude, I wish I was there. And for me, it's hard because I'm literally on the other side of the country, the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And I can't do anything about it to come help and stop in and give them a hand. Cause if I lived out there, I would, I'd stop what I would be doing and go over there and show up and be like, hey man, let's unload the truck and give those guys a hand. And
for sure.
I would love doing that. Unfortunately I live in California and it's a 8-hour flight and, and 4 time zones and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like it's a convenient thing to just stop in. So, but
what part of California are you? So
I live in Lodi, California, which is about 45 minutes south of Sacramento. Okay. And it's like if you look at California, excuse me, in the Bay Area, if you go east about an hour and a half, and then if you come down an hour and a half, for like an hour 45 minutes or so from Sacramento, it kind of comes like this, and then I'm a good 6 to 8 hour drive from LA. So I'm like right in the middle of the state. And it's a beautiful, we're a wine country town. It's known for the wine industry where I'm at, very agriculture. My town's a big square and it's flat. It's kind of funny. It's like all those typical like Midwest, states and everything to where, you know, you drive around town, there's the basic stuff and nothing fancy. And as soon as you drive 10 minutes outside of town, it's just vineyards and olive orchards and, you know, cattle and cornfields and, you know, walnut orchards. And it's, you know, it is what it is. So.
California is really interesting. I've been in California like back in the days when I was living in Panama and I was doing like MMA and I was like big time into martial arts.
Yeah.
I was traveling to California to compete, to train, and I was going all the time to Ventura and Thousand Oaks.
Oh, okay.
And I was also in Manhattan Beach. I was staying in Manhattan Beach a lot, and San Diego. And,
oh yeah.
But yeah, I know like a really vast area of California. I know California is humongous.
Yeah, the, you know, third biggest state.
Yeah, and dude, the highways are like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Rush hour, Jesus. And
It's probably the Bay Area, and where you were down in that area. We lived down there right before we had our son, and I saw a family down in Southern California.
Mhm.
We lived in Oceanside, right above San Diego.
Okay.
And my wife went to college in San Diego State and stuff like that. But we lived out there for almost 2 years before we realized like we can't afford to live here if we're going to have a kid and continue to live this way. So we moved up to this area, and that's where we are now. But we still go down there. My wife's actually going down there tomorrow to go visit family in San Diego and you know, go to a class, and she's going to go visit her folks. No.
Nice. So
But
Walter,
beautiful area.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, this year I'm not gonna be able to go to Legions Con.
Oh man.
But yeah, because like, dude, we have so many expenses. We just have a wedding outside of the country.
Oh wow.
And we spend a lot of money, dude. And you know, like I want to go, but I don't want to be like.
I know people that need a roommate, man. If you need it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, we can talk later. We can talk later.
I know I can get you a roommate if you need a roommate, and I know a guy, you know.
Okay. So the thing is this: what can we expect of Legions Con this year? For the people who don't know,
Legions Con is always just it's just an amazing get together. When we were first talking and before my Wi-Fi decided to not work, it's like all that stuff what we were originally talking about. It's that camaraderie, it's that fun, it's that get together. It is literally like a giant meetup of friends. Everybody that comes to the Legions Con for all these years, and it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger every year. But starting from like day one to last year, having 600, 700, 800 people come by, and you know them all. They're all people that you've interacted with online in the community, or done photos with, or liked their photos, or seen their products, seen their art. You've seen them take their photos. You've seen them, you know, do these interviews, or you've seen them sculpt something. And it's somebody that you recognize. And then when you come up and you interact with these people, I've never had a bad interaction at Legions Con other than just, I can't see everybody at once. And I was joking this last year and still, that if you spend 5 minutes with everybody of the 700 people or so that show up, that's, you know, 3,500 minutes, and that's days of interaction. You know, it blows your mind. And then you get the interaction of just the walk-bys, and you're just looking at stuff that's simple, even if you don't interact with people and you're an introvert, and that's totally fair. But to walk around and see like stuff that's being made, and people actually painting in front of you, and things for sale, items that are for sale, items being sculpted. There's people doing all that live. The video game guys were there. There's the plunderling guys there. There's the Glyos guys. Everybody. It's an amazing walk around. Even if you talk to nobody, you can see so much stuff that you see online, just like you would go to any convention, but to see like the dedication towards one line of being Mythic Legions. And this year being Cosmic Legions are out, Figure Obscura stuff is more available. The lineup of the sculptors and artists and the people that are painters and soft goods and everything else that goes along with it. It starts to just kind of really blow your mind when you start thinking about all this stuff. And it's a dedicated show for that. And this year, I mean, respectfully, I think I don't know. I know, but I don't know. But I'm almost expecting almost twice as many people as we had last year.
Oh yeah.
And in a building that's two and a half times bigger than it was last year. And that's saying something, because last year was a huge building and a huge lines and huge building. I mean, it was amazing, you know, and to sit there and think that we'll have, I think it's a 15,000 square foot plus other rooms and in this hotel, to where it's just like, I'm excited and it blows my mind to even think of that. That's the size of like a basic local con that you have at like in my area, Sacramento and the Bay Area, where you have these big conventions and they're full of everything. But this is a dedicated Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions, Figure Obscura, and all the artists that go along with it. And like I said, you get you know, the Plunderling guys and the Mesozoic guys, the guy that makes the dinosaurs.
I think Meta Travelers, they told me they're gonna be there too.
Yeah, they were there last year. They were there casually walking around, and it's so funny to talk to those guys and see them as like a startup where they were just kind of dipping their toes in it and seeing the interaction of the community and what the group was like. And it was funny because I was hanging out in the lobby having drinks with the Metaverse guys. And I told them, I said, this is the type of community that you would want. This is the type of artists that you want. And look at the Horseman fans and how exciting and nice they are. And I go, you know, look at the interaction. And I would just wave to people and tell them to come over and just to say hi. And people would stop what they were doing and come over and say hi and just want to meet these guys that haven't put out anything yet other than just this concept. And the fans would come over and just want to see what you're doing. And it was just genuinely exciting to see, you know, the fans see the new stuff. Yeah, my new puppy. To see people interact with everything. Come on, baby.
It's so cool.
No, yeah, it was crazy because Jorge can tell you we were like staying together, and this, I think it was a Marriott, not Marriott, a hotel really close by, like 5 minutes walk from the main event, and dude, I was waking up like around 5 a.m. Every day to make the line, and we were walking, and I remember we met one of our great friends now, Stephen Mank.
Oh yeah.
Articulated Time.
Yep.
Well, we meet each other walking from the hotel to the event at 5 a.m. And it was crazy. And now he's one of our, you know, like best friends in the community.
Nice.
But it's crazy because I remember the line was insane, dude. And
it was 4.5 hours.
It's gonna be like a bigger event, and I noticed, I was checking on the map and everything is gonna be definitely way bigger, and definitely the community now that you said. I mean, we have now Cosmic Legions, we have Mythic Legions, we have Figura Obscura, and all these toy lines also related to the Horsemen. Meta Travelers, A Walk,
Yeah, AWOC guys are going
Eden,
to be there.
Defenders of Eden,
Yep.
and all. The crazy thing to me, I'm gonna be honest with you, was all these customizers.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I was walking the aisle. It was 3 actual aisles, right?
Yeah.
With 2 sides of offerings, right? And I was walking, and I was walking, and I was walking, and every time I was walking the same halls, I was looking at the different stuff because there's so much detail on these customizers also per figure. That is crazy that you're not able in 2 days, you're not able to see everything. Imagine a bigger show now. You know, it's
2 to
gonna
3
be crazy.
times bigger.
It's gonna be crazy.
And you know, and it's one of those things like, so to go back is, I've said that for years now, that 2 years ago, the show was still like an infant size comparison to nowadays. It was in a large hall, and 2 or 3 big rows, and you still, it was still insane because you still couldn't see everything. And we even set up earlier. And then this last year, they had a day ahead of time to set up. And then I was lucky enough, and to get in there, wander around, look at stuff. I still didn't see everything. And the artists, and like I said, the soft good guys, the artists, the sculptors, the painters, the guys selling the different lines of figures that I had no idea, or they were concepts at the time. The Defenders of Eden. I'm losing it.
Defenders of Ashmore.
Yeah, I'm
The dinosaurs.
losing. Yeah, I'm losing the. I want to say his name. I'm just drawing a blank suddenly. But he was there, and he had his prototypes, and they were just awesome things to just see. And here they are, like prototype figures, and they're great big old huge figures. And he's in a simple booth, just the nicest guy, and he's among 20 other different guys. And they're all different projects and art and sculpts. And there's like Chris had his biblical figures.
Yeah.
And next there's just, it's overwhelming, and it's like I'm like rambling because I just think back on it, and I'm like, oh my God, there was just so much just stuff. And
Matt Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you. So it was just so cool to see all that stuff. And then you go down the line of where everybody was, where there's the Defenders of Eden, and then you have all the Glyos guys, then you have all the different people around him, then you have the guys that are making dioramas and everything else. It's a genuinely exciting show to kind of get that creativity going. But the main thing is exciting is just having the people that are there. And if you're casually into like 6-inch figures, or if you're full into Mythic Legions and you're a hardcore fan like me, there's something there for everybody, and there's something there to kind of catch your attention to where it's worth going to, and it's genuinely fun to have a good time. And that's the genuine emphasis of it, where it's just you gotta go. And the people that are missing out on it, it's upsetting at times, where you're just like, wow, I wish everybody could go, but I understand, life happens, and finances and everything else go along with it. Like you said, if you went to a wedding before and you can't make it, hey, I get it. Like it's a lot of work, it's not easy to get to these type of things.
Same thing goes for me. Unfortunately, last year was my first Mythic Legions Con, and I loved it. I was there with Carlos, had an amazing time. It was really cool to be in a show that wasn't so big, but it was big in the sense of content, right? So it was like not a huge convention, but every corner you turned, I would say every 2 feet that you walked, there was something that would you would get stuck there for like half an hour, just observing the mastery of either, custom heads, custom bodies, customizations, all sorts of stuff. And me personally, as an artist, I was just blown away, just taking in all the concepts and ideas and getting my own ideas for customizations. But yeah, unfortunately, this year I'm not going to be able to go. But gladly, we did make it to PowerCon, and PowerCon was, you know, being that I took a hiatus from shows, um, I think since like 2020. No, actually 2018 was the last big show that I went to. Uh, it was a really big difference, PowerCon, in the sense that everything was accessible. There wasn't so many people in the sense that, like a New York, like a San Diego Comic Con, where you're like elbow to elbow, walking through the aisles and stuff. You had more accessibility. Things weren't behind glass.
Yeah.
You could actually grab and play with things. The
Yeah.
Mythic Legions booth, the Horseman's booth was awesome. So it's
Yeah,
just a different
yeah.
type of show.
Yeah, we want people to come up and look at stuff and play with them and grab things. And I mean, mind you, we do have big displays and behind glass those are like anything. Like they're meant for the display. They're usually when we debuted the PowerCon, figure, we had the Ox Crew for the Cosmic Legions debuting. Of course, those are like prototype, hand painted, one off type of things where they put them behind glass. They want things to be looked at, but you could still come up and look at them. And there was many a times where Jeremy or Joe Vassapolo or Eric Treadaway was there. They would pull out the figures and hold them in front of people, and so you could see them in person or get able to touch something that's a one of a kind until it makes mass production. Not only that, but you're also dealing with somebody like that's painted it or sculpted it, and they're there in person. The Horsemen and all the people are just genuinely nice guys, to where they just willing and have no problem interacting with people. And over the last year or two at Legions Con, it's been great because they'll walk up. You can walk up to them and talk to them like any other regular person. They're very interactive and very, very nice to talk to. And it was awesome last year when Eric Treadaway stayed up late and hung out with us all in the lobby, and stayed. I think God, he must have stayed there till like midnight. Which I've never personally seen him do that type of thing, but he was just so excited to be there, and the crowd was so great in the lobby, and the after hangout party, if you will, where people are just having the best time of their life, and just great interaction with the toy makers and the artists and everybody else, like I've already said.
Yeah, and just like Carlos got an opportunity to reveal the reinforcement figure. I remember way back when Mythic Legion started, I actually got the first test shots for Wave 1.
Nice.
Sent them out to me, and that was amazing and an honor to actually, put that on YouTube and be like the first one to actually tangibly be able to mess with these things. So those opportunities are rare, and they're very special, and it's awesome to have that first look at something. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely looking forward to next year. I will be living vicariously from all the toy tubers and you guys, and posting stuff online.
Maybe if I'm going.
Well, if you're going, then you got to give me a wall tour 2-pack.
Talking about that. Okay, so Walter.
Yes.
Tell me how it feels, and tell me everything about Walter the Mad.
Oh man,
how it feels.
I'm still a loss for words, and that's pretty crazy for me, because I'll ramble about anything. I mean, I'll you guys know, I'll just talk and I just love BSing. But that's one of those moments to where I was genuinely like didn't know what to say. Like I've watched that video a dozen times and go back and watch the reveal and that kind of stuff. Not only it's one thing to be like honored and I say honored and fortunate to work with the studio, being a fan, and then being told as a fan, like, we want you to come work, like they want me to help them do this. And a lot of that started years ago at a PowerCon, and I was just like, yeah, that's cool, I'll do that. And later on they go, we got to pay you for what you do, we want you to work for us, we got to pay you for what you're doing, because you do so much, you come to these shows, you do this, and I've done so much for them for so long. And I like to kind of be cornered by them and the studio, and they're just like, we got to do this. And I go, okay, that's, I get it, and then to get to the point now where for years people would say, when are they going to make a Walter figure? And I just always like, hey, that's cool, I'm not looking for anything special, I'm just me, but Jeremy and Eric and all the guys would always say, we want to make one, but we don't have the right means to make something to justify what Walter does for us. And that kind of thing, and this goes back years, that kind of thing would blow my mind when they would say that. And I was always like, hey, that's awesome. And then when they finally revealed it and had me live, and I was genuinely like blown away and a loss for words, to where I was just kind of I didn't know what to say, and not just like it was like one figure, but it was two on both sides of their lines, where they have like a mythic version and then they have a cosmic version, and that was such an honor and such a cool thing, such a cool thing to deal with, to where I was just I didn't know what to say. Like that was a genuine reaction. I had no clue, I had no idea. And like I said, I watched that video a dozen times and sent it to all my family and linked it and said, like, look at, I'm gonna be an action figure, So like and even still, like, it's it's even funnier is like when it kind of hits you, is like, I know you guys have kids, but like when your son goes out and he tells his friends or his teacher and goes, oh yeah, my dad's going to be an action figure, he has this and he works for a toy company, and you're sitting there just trying to be cool and be at a PTA meeting, and you're just like, you're just hanging out being yourself, and like your son just like throws it out there, and then like the teachers and his friends look at you and like, like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be an action figure. And it's like, hey, yeah, I work for a toy company, I do their social media, and I do this and this, and people don't like look at you and it doesn't register. But when somebody else tells somebody about it, that's the part that really just like genuinely like makes me like humble and a loss for words, to where it's like introducing your wife to somebody for the first time, or it's introducing, like, this is my son to your friends, and you don't know how to do it, but at the same time, like, hey, this is my son, here's my friends, Carlos, I'd like you to meet my son Walter, and this and that. And it's that kind of experience. It's something that you're grateful for and excited to do, but you also, it's just, you don't know how to go about it, other than just, it is what it is, so I'm excited. So
it's funny that you said that, because last week my daughter told me that she was at lunch. She's 11.
Yeah.
She was at lunch with all her friends, and she was like, she was so excited because of my meeting, because she noticed the excitement of me doing the reveal, right, on Mythic
Mhm.
Legions. And she was like, oh my god, and she told all her friends at school at
Nice.
lunch, like, my dad is a YouTuber. And the guys,
Yeah.
the kids were like, your dad have a YouTube channel? Yes. And he played with toys, and they were like, what? And then out of the blue, she told me like, oh, all my friends at school follow your channel. They they said that you're so cool, and they want their dads to be like you, that you play with toys. And I was
Yeah.
like, it was kind of like funny.
Yeah.
And but my wife was cracking. But it was, at the same time, it was really cool because my daughter, like, on her mind, she feels proud
Yeah.
that her dad, I mean, have a YouTube channel, and it's like famous, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's for them, it's like a big thing, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and I was so kind of like happy for, mostly for her, for how proud she was like feeling, and that's a really cool um feeling,
Yeah.
like, about that, and the relationship with your kids, like that
Yeah.
connection that you may have. My daughter is not playing anymore with toys, but she loved to be here in my toy room, looking at my stuff. She watched my YouTube videos.
Yeah.
She watched my YouTube videos, and she's like, every time I put a YouTube video or Instagram or pictures
Yep.
in my Instagram, she's like, oh, you put this new thing, that. And I'm like,
Yep.
yeah. And she's excited about it. It's amazing.
That's that crossover. Like, I mean, it's that excitement. And I totally get it, because my son does the same thing, and him being 9, and then even more so where I'm lucky enough to where, like what you're wearing right now, my son wears my shirts, he wears and has the stickers. He has the stickers on everything, and people, he goes out, he wears it. My wife will wear the shirts around the house, and sometimes when she just goes to Target or something. I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed about it, and I just love it to death. That's why I do all those, and I make those shirts and I give them away, because it's just a genuine excitement. And my son talks about it the same thing. He says, Walter, you're good. You're going to be an action figure. My dad's going to be an action figure. And he has a cabal, and he does this and he does that. My dad's not here. That he's told friends where he goes, my dad's not here this weekend, and he's in New Jersey signing autographs for his friends, and that kind of stuff. And the reality of both sides of hearing it, and then being that guy that my son is talking about, where he goes, look, daddy, that guy's talking to you on YouTube, or look, that guy's got your shirt. And I go, yeah, that's my friend Carlos, or that's Jeremy, or that's this. And he knows those people, and he likes it. And it's going to be even more fun this year because of the release of the figures. And then my family's, we're all going to New Jersey. We're all going to intern for a day. We're all going to G-Con.
Awesome.
We're all going to Legions Con. We're flying, and we're making a family trip out of it, because they're genuinely excited, and the studio really wants to meet them. We're it's amazing to where CB and Eric and Jim and Nate and Jeremy and everybody has said, like, man, I can't wait to meet your family. And I'm like, man, that's wild. And I would have never thought they would have wanted to meet them, but after all these years of doing this stuff, now they are excited to meet my family and tell them what a great person I am for what I've done with them and helped them build. And my family just looks at it as, like, at times they're like, you know, like my mom says, oh, I love when you play with your dolls on TV and stuff like that. And you go to your, you know, you go to your little conventions and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, thanks. You know, thanks mom. You know, that, but it's humbling in all sense of, you know, everything from getting the figures to being part of the community and having people wear your merchandise and talk to you and being interviewed and everything. It's sometimes it's wild to think about that, you know. It's crazy. I would have never thought this, but I told myself years ago, I go, I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be that guy and make a difference in people's lives and do something that hasn't been done and you know, make a difference as little as possible, but make a difference even still online, and to where, you know, it's wild to think that, you know, with the community the way it is and people, you know, excited to go to Legions Con and meet me for the first time or hang out with me with dinner and see them for the 100th time. So
Yeah.
No, yeah, totally. It's about envisioning yourself, dude. Like I always say that, especially like in my martial arts school, I tell that to my students all the time. When there's a fight coming, they have like a cage fight or something like that. I always try to tell them, like, listen, it's how you visualize yourself in this situation, and that's going to help you in order to perform in real life.
Yep.
It's about dreaming, but that dream can become a reality if you put everything on it. You know, like if you put soul and heart on it, you can achieve your goals in life. No matter what. No matter what.
Yeah, I've said that to people many a times in all the stuff I've ever done. You gotta do what you can, you know, but don't be afraid to do it. It's not easy. It's not impossible, but you gotta have some kind of reality too. So my son
what we're cutting there.
My son just got his latest Pokemon cards from Amazon.
Nice.
Come here and say hi real quick.
Say hi put him there. Hey.
Come say hi.
What's up, buddy?
What's up?
Show me your Pokemon.
Let me see. Right. What you got? What you got?
You got a Pokemon Gold, huh?
So, Jorge, tell me, which is your like figure like exclusive that you wanted to get? Like definitely the Walter.
For me, it's the Walter, the Mad 2-pack, because there's two aspects. I love the undead, so like the Necronominous wave, I can't wait to get those in hand. But the fact that they made him into a zombie, and then they made him into a zombie in space with an orange spacesuit, that sold me, because orange is like my favorite color, dude. So
yeah, me too. I can't wait to get that one.
It's so sick. But you know what, I was reading about it, like on the website and stuff, and it talks about celebrating, you know, Walter and how you know, the character, you know, in the what do you call it, what is it that they call that, the bio of the figure,
in the lore,
and it says how, you know, Walter the Mad always wanted to, you know, preach the way of the Cabal and all this. But I'm curious, how does that transfer over into Cosmic Legions? Like, what's the story behind, how did you go from being in Mythos to being in space in an orange spacesuit? Do they explain that in the bio?
In the bio, it's a little bit explained, that it's more or less that the spirit couldn't be killed. That the spirit of the Cabal is just kind of ever growing and encroaching to where it's that representation of just, if you look at the symbol, like we're always encroaching and taking over. And it's the same thing when you look at the cosmic style. it encroaches all the realms, all the rings. It's the myth with like we have taken over mythos as the Cabal and the spirit of it.
Cool.
The same thing with the cosmic stuff. And the original art was meant to be, it's encroaching and taking over all the rings.
Cool.
I would bring out one of the stickers. I forgot to grab one, but it's meant to just, you can't defeat the spirit of it and the entity that it is. And in the lore of the figure, it's just the character can't be stopped. It can't be, denied of just wanting to be out there and preach the word of the Cabal and Mythic Legions and Cosmic Legions and everything else. So it's just meant to be like a happy, kind of overwhelming type of character where you can't just put him down because he's eternal, he's immortal, he's undead. He just wants to keep going, as simple as it is.
Is essentially what the Cabal is, where it's unstoppable. It's evolved from mythos to now cosmic. So, and whatever is coming in the future. But you know what I wanted to ask, and I know that you definitely cannot share any information, but I'm curious to know, have you already seen what's going to be revealed at Legions Con?
No, I haven't seen anything yet. I usually I'll see it like a couple days before, because honestly, what happened, like the years past, what usually happens is they're working on something. They have these concepts and they're working on something constantly. So you'll have like the Poxus Wave. There's been times where they were putting those together till the night before, and walked in, like I remember like the one of the stories I have is like walking into the studio the day or the night before just to see what's going on. And I had some free time, got over to the studio, walked into the studio because like it was unlocked at the time, and they knew I was coming, and there's like the whole Poxus Wave just laid out, and I'm like, what's all this like? And they're genuinely excited. They're genuinely excited to be like, well, don't tell anybody, don't take pictures. I'm like, these pictures are on my phone. Like, oops, sorry guys, I got the oven on in the background.
Yeah, no worries.
But it's like they're usually like working on figures to like almost the last minute, and it's kind of a running joke in a sense to where there could be last minute changes of how things are put together. They could have, because their prototyping machines are making, the prints, and then they're hand sanding things down to hand paint them. Sherry's getting it off to Trevor at the last second, and Trevor's having to take promo photos in literally in the room, like off to the side, and he's set up and he's kind of sitting there waiting, like, those are amazing, but oh my God. And they're super fragile, and he's got to pose them to where they're not going to break. And there's all kinds of those crazy stories. So, yeah. But it's genuinely nuts at times to where you sit there and you think about it, that they're not done yet until sometimes the day before.
Right.
And you won't see like Poxus until he's right there on camera. And that's the part that's just wildly amazing, where you're just like, I was like everybody else for years, where you just think like, oh my God, like, you guys make these? Like, you're just molding these by hand, or you're sculpting these, or you're printing them out digitally? Like, I thought like anything else, like, oh yeah, just stuff just pops up and there it is, I had no idea. I didn't realize that, the studio was genuinely, like hand sculpting things, like Eric Treadaway would tell me stories from, and this was years ago, like 8-9 years ago, where he would be like, oh yeah, up until, a few months ago, we would hand sculpt all these things. And then, cast them and then do this and do that and then hand paint them, and Sherry would do that. And I'm like, what? Like, you guys make these things by hand? And you know, to see the difference from what it was to what it is now, where you know Eric can prototype sculpt something within a few minutes, and because he's really 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 good, and go into the other room and the prototyping printing machine will print it up within an hour or two, and then you've got like like suddenly you're like, hey, I've got a part, and it's like, holy crap, that's amazing, and it's just like, yeah, I made that from that machine over there, and then it goes into another room and somebody paints it up. It's completely just mind-blowing how that stuff is made and toys are made, and it's just I'm amazed by that stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely a well-oiled machine that they got running over there, and it's really cool to be able to see those things behind the scenes. Like, I really wanted to get chosen for the intern for a day last year. I didn't try this year, obviously, because I knew I couldn't go to the show. But that's something I would love to do, is like actually be in the studio and see behind the scenes.
Yeah, that would be wild.
Yeah,
I know a guy that could get you in if you guys ever
Okay.
Well, I can be part of your family this year.
Extended family.
I'm lucky enough. I'm lucky enough to where I get to bring people and as guests and friends, and over the years I've brought friends and people in that I've they're my guests to come to the studio, and I introduce them and I tell them, I said, look, these are people that I believe in, that I just love to death, and I think they make a difference. It's as simple as it's like you guys making YouTube videos and introducing people to the line and interaction with people. I've had friends like Giovanni that is in the Cabal, and he's I believe an amazing artist, and I brought him as a guest of my friend last year, and all his friends had been picked to go for intern last year, and he was unfortunately not picked, but his friends had their guests and everybody else, and he was coming out to Legions Con, and he had his figures and paints and everything, and Giovanni was just an amazing artist in my opinion, and he still is, but he's just really wanted to go, and I go, well, I'll bring you with me. And I didn't tell anybody. And he was just a loss for words, and just walking around like a 10-year-old seeing something for the first time, and his eyes were this big, and just this grown man almost in tears walking around and meeting the horsemen in person and seeing this and going through the classes and the tour and all that stuff that you guys would love to do. And he was lucky enough to do that, just because it's just like most things. If I believe in somebody and I can bring them with me and help them out, I'll do that. It's just, getting to that point,
That's the type of guy you are, no matter what, dude. Because the way you interact with people, and I see you like the way you interact with people that you don't even know, and they know you because of the Cabal. But
here,
anyways,
I met Walter for the first time at PowerCon, and he just handed me a shirt, handed me a badge. Like,
and Jorge was telling me when he went with me to Legions Con last year, he was like, dude, like this is like yours, because Jorge wasn't like, he didn't know like some of the people that were on the line. He was like, dude, you know everybody here, whatever. And I was like, no, dude, this is like a family, like for everybody. And no matter if you don't know each other like personally, like you interact on the group, and it doesn't matter, like, but the way you actually your relationship with the group itself is really special, because you treat even people that you don't know as family, and you like to
Yeah.
make them feel part of
Yeah.
something, and that's one of the main things when you come with the box with shirts, and you point at people that you just recognize, maybe because of the face or something like that. You're like, you have your shirt here, boom. Hey, you have your shirt here, boom. And like the face you put when you take pictures with people, you make, even you don't know them, in your face look like you're friends with them since forever. And that's the cool thing about how you interact with the group.
It's all of it. It's how you interact and how you meet people and what you do to meet those people and how you introduce yourself. And I've always tried to take the edge off people to where like I don't feel awkward and being around somebody. And because I knew for the longest time, for as long as I can remember, like I'm like I would have people look at me and think I was like this big scary tattooed biker, gun wielding crazy person or whatever, and people would find out that I'm a gardener and I play with toys, and they're just like, really? I go, hey, I like tattoos and I look this way, and and I work out and this and that. It's just, I love having that offset image to where you're thinking one thing, but then you come around and be like, wow, this guy's really genuine, a nice guy, and is willing to help you out and fix things and do stuff for people. And like it's not hard to do. It's just I would rather be treated that way and treat somebody nicer than I would be treated. And if I could give you a shirt or interact with you for the first time and come up and take pictures with Jorge and say, hey, it's nice to meet you, you want a shirt? And you see these guys and they're just okay, like what's and it always makes me laugh too, is because people are like, well, how much is it? And I go, no, I'm just giving them out. I'm just happy that you're here and you're waiting in line for the horseman, and I just come up and want to meet you, and like, hey, what's your name? And it just doesn't happen like that anymore, where people want to come up and meet you for the first time and introduce yourself, and it blows people away sometimes where they're a loss for words. And you come up smiling to them and go, hey, nice to meet you. Here's a shirt. Would you want this? And what are you here to buy? And you genuinely are interested in why they're here. And I find it interesting. I tell people all the time, I have 5,000 friends, and, I know a lot of them. I talk to them. I have, 30, 40, 50 plus conversations a day with all the people that I interact with online. And people are like, really? And I go, yeah. Yeah, it's a good time. I talk to friends daily about Mythic Legions, and on their drive home, or some of the people that are working on art, or they're working on new sculpts for Legions Con, or they're just excited to tell me what they got. I have fun doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
That's great. That's great.
That feeling of brotherhood, like I said, when I was at Legions Con last year, Carlos is like, I thought he was like a superstar. He was like, everybody knew him. It was like
I like to talk, dude. That's the problem.
It was like cheers. It was like everybody knows your name. Like everybody knew who Carlos was. Yeah. And I was humbled because there was a couple people that were like, hey, you're a toy addict, and they actually remembered me from my YouTube channel and stuff like that. But I think one of the best things about being in the community in general, whether it's Mythic Legions or anything else, is just, I think overall the toy community as a whole is just such a great and wholesome. There's always going to be, some negative Nancy's here and there. That's just a given. But I've made so many great friends. Carlos being one of them. I met Carlos through. He was a fan of my YouTube channel, and
I was a fanboy.
Local. Yeah. I found out he was local, and then eventually we met up, and now we're doing stuff together, and and it's all about that, like just meeting new people from different walks of life that share that passion for the same hobby as you, you
Yeah.
know, customizers. I wish I had more time on my plate to work on customs. I've actually been working on this custom for, I don't know, maybe close to a year now. And you know, it's one of those things where, damn, I wish I had more time, but it's like there's only so much time in a day, and there's only so many things you can do. But definitely the passion of seeing other people, building, creating their own stuff with Mythic Legion's parts, adding their own parts. The fact that the Horsemen are open to that and
Hmm.
allowing people that creative space to actually, build upon the community and create unique and different things that it's not really horsemen. I mean, they're using the base bodies, but it's not really the stuff that they're making. That's awesome. So, cohesively through you, through the horsemen, CB, Eric, um, it's just an awesome community, man. Just, you guys embrace everybody, open to everybody from all walks of life, all ages,
Hmm.
seeing little kids playing with stuff. Because I always talk to Carlos, and in our shows, we always discuss of where is the future of hobby going, because it's kind of scary times because, we have no Toys R Us anymore. Uh,
Yeah.
when we look for toys, um, other than Mythic Legions, which you can order directly, but, we collect Marvel Legends, collect other lines, and it's like you got to go to the Target aisle or you got to order from Big Bad Toy Store and stuff like that. There's no longer that outlet that we had as children where it was like, Mom, Dad, take me to, Toys R Us, take me to Play World. So I'm just curious how that landscape is going to evolve in the future, being that children that whose parents don't collect, um, they don't really have a role model saying, "Hey, play with toys, play with action figures." They're more leaning towards, digital stuff like video games and
Hmm.
gadgets and knickknacks. So I'm curious, like it almost feels like the future of collecting and toys as a whole is going to be an adult-driven market.
It's it's frustrating, and I know we were kind of talking a little bit about this off camera when we first got on, but it's interesting and kind of frustrating and exciting all at the same time, because one of the things is, having your kids involved with what you do, and why it's exciting for me for this year. My son's now old enough to come with me to a convention that I'll be part of. And he has the excitement, and he's collected and helped, unbox things and see it over the years. And then he likes certain characters himself, and um, but it's cool to see when people bring their kids to the shows. I met Mark Halseal, Anthony Halseal's brother, one of the first times a couple years ago, and he was being introduced. Mark being, I think he's in his 30s, and his daughter came with him and his family, and Anthony was hanging out at Wolf King Customs and doing his thing, and he goes, hey, I'd like to introduce you to my brother, and he's a collector, but he's just kind of like thinking about getting into Mythic Legions, and he was there with his daughter, and I just thought that was the coolest thing. And then for them to come out, and here's Anthony introducing his younger brother that's an adult, just kind of getting into Mythic Legions, and he's kind of excited to see the studio and see the figures and all that kind of stuff for the first time. But not only that, he was out bringing his family along, and the cool part was meeting them, and then talking to the kid and saying, well, what do you think of all this stuff? And he was blown away that I wasn't there like selling and pushing the line onto him. But it was more of like, I was there to interact with all of them, and Anthony was kind of blown away, and Mark was blown away. And then here's this, 6-7-year-old kid that was like, what do you think of all these toys? Because it's one thing to be an adult to see all these toys all over a giant convention, but it's another thing to be a little kid going to a convention and seeing all this stuff and all the people and excited, and his dad, and the dad to be excited, and here's the uncle that's excited, here, meet this guy, here's the guy that makes the toys, here's Walter, here's this, and then to get to the point to where like I go, well, what kind of toy would you want? And she just would look across this table like what we all do, 40, 50, 60 feet worth of toys and action figures. And I go, buy, whatever you want, you can have whatever you want on this table. And this little kid's eyes like got like this big and have the excitement. And Mark and Anthony were just like blown away and at a, loss for words. And to see the kids get excited to be able to pick whatever they want, because as adults, we're there because we're excited. We want to get what we want, but we would never think at the same time, some of us, they wouldn't think that their kids are going to be interested in like Mythic Legions. And sure enough, that little kid, walked across the table and looked at everything and picked one up. And I like this one. Okay, well, you can have that. And to see grown men almost tear up and get excited that I would give them, a figure, not thinking that the kid would even be interested in the line or in this type of stuff at all. And then to find out now, this little girl likes this action figure because it's a female action figure, and she thinks it's really cool, and she's going to go home and open it and play with it for the first time. And to see that reaction and the excitement for this kid to not just, here's another Pokemon, or here's not another video game, or here's another YouTube channel, but to sit there and pick up an action figure that she was looking at and interacting and seeing that her dad also liked.
Yeah.
And then to have the dad excited to be like, I never would have thought that my daughter would have liked Mythic Legions. And, here's Mark and Anthony like at a loss for words and in half teared up and going, man, damn it, Walter, like I didn't even think of that. And to like, you gave her a figure before I've even given her a figure. And I go, I'm just trying to be, friendly and nice and help, and for God's sakes, like to see the excitement of a little kid get their first action figure. I'm like, that's freaking awesome. And they're like, yeah, but we were going to do that. And I go, well, I can't help it, but
you stole their thunder.
I stole their thunder, but but it was also amazing to sit there and see, Anthony and his brother to get together and then buy Mythic Legions together, and his first Mythic Legions. And then now his daughter is in there. And then they could all have that relation of buying and getting their first Mythic Legions and playing with it together and pulling it apart, opening it. And they sent me videos and thank you letters and stuff like that. And I wasn't, hoping for any of that stuff, but I just thought that was just the most amazing thing to sit there and see, where if you could get those kids into something that they like and give them the opportunity and the choice to get something that they're going to pick out of that big, huge lot or that big room. That's where I think, being a kid and that excitement still lies in with having something in hand and having that opportunity to go to the shows and meet people and see the artists and everything else, like I said. So,
and that's awesome, but of course, like, she was privy to that because of her father being a collector. But I just wonder, where toys are going to lead as far as children are concerned when their parents aren't into the hobby. That's where I'm thinking that action figures as a whole with children is a dwindling market. I'm looking at things nowadays. Mostly everything is adult driven, and I
Yeah.
mean, it's a toy renaissance right now because you got the AWOC folks, you got the cyberzoic folks, you got the
Yep.
meta travelers, and all this stuff is expensive, dude. It's not like everybody has expendable cash, but however, you keep seeing all this stuff come out of the woodwork, and third party and overseas companies doing these amazing figures, and so it's just like,
$100, $200, $300
yeah, dude,
figures.
it's
Yeah.
an
Tell me about it. We
explosion
collect
of toys
Mondo.
right now.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, Mondo.
Yeah.
I collect Mondo Masters of the Universe, dude.
Let's
Oh.
not even go to that rabbit hole.
Yeah. It's all that stuff. And that's where it goes back to where, like, I'm very fortunate, and I thank everybody and try to give back when I can, because I know I'm fortunate in what I do, and I love giving back and giving stuff away. And I don't like everything, but the stuff that I do like, I keep, and I enjoy it. My son and I open it, but he also knows that we're very lucky to do what we do with the Horsemen, and we get the stuff that we get, and I'm able to go to the shows and buy more and have extras. But there's plenty of stuff out there that, we look at, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And he goes, hey, Daddy, look at this Hulk figure. That's amazing. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, that's a $50 figure, or that's $100 figure. And it's just like, Daddy has to work a little bit extra to get something like that, but he's interested in a lot of that stuff still. And I think the nostalgic of it, to where the toy industry is like lucky enough to have what the fans and the people that we have, to where we're able to buy stuff that we remember and we couldn't have as kids. But I think the kids that are out there and the teenagers that are out there, they're gonna come back around eventually, to where they're gonna remember that stuff from their childhood and buy it. It's just that cycle of, if it's gonna, be that renaissance 4, 5, 10, 20 years from now.
Right.
And then at the same time, us as an adult, 40, I'm 46 years old, are we still going to be wanting all that stuff that are
You're
50?
young.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you, I try to stay young, but, but if you think about it, like, I've had plenty of people where, I know guys that are 50, 60, a couple of 65-year-olds that still collect toys and they still love them. But are we going to be, wanting that same stuff in 5, 10, 20 years, or are the kids going to want it because they see us enjoying it and they remember going? I'm hoping like they'll remember when we take them to the shows and we meet the people and we have those interactions and we build the dioramas, and the guys that do paint, like they can paint stuff together with their kids. And I'm hoping for all that kind of stuff, because I know plenty of people that do that. And I know people that do toy photography with their kids. And like, my son loves taking my camera and taking pictures of figures at times. And then he asked, can you show this to your friends? And I go, yeah, sure.
That's awesome. That's a, like you said, it's all about, the generational growth and how things expand and grow throughout the years. It's all going to be an interesting landscape to observe and see how it materializes. But overall, I think just collecting as a whole, at least for me, it's something that brings me joy,
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder sometimes, when we're no longer on this earth, if, having a shit ton of toys left for your family, if it's going to be a burden or if it's going to be something they're going to embrace. You know what I mean? Because it might be something that means something to us now, but then, when we're no longer here, they're like, damn, what do I do with all this shit? Like, I got like bins full of waves of figures. What am I going to do with this stuff? And so, you always wonder about those things. Because, like, for example, my wife, she doesn't really get the whole hobby. She's like, you're obsessed with the past and nostalgia and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but she's a psychologist. She's always trying to like figure things out. But um, but yeah, you know, it's like if your significant other isn't into it, if your kids aren't into it, like, you know, what happens when you're no longer there? Are they going to collect to remember you? And you know, it's just interesting how things will eventually evolve depending on, you know, your path in life, I guess. um but I for sure want to see, I know there's been talks for a while now that Toys R Us is making a comeback, that they're going to start opening flagship stores and stuff, but so far I haven't seen anything happen. um but it would be awesome to see, you know, the return of that, so we could start seeing that whole generational thing come back where it's like, hey, let's go take you to the toy store on Friday or on Saturday. You got good grades. Let's go to the toy store. Whereas now you're going to Target and it's very limited product. You know, there's only so much they can put on the shelves. So it's just interesting in that sense, you know? Like you, Carlos,
No,
like
yeah.
your daughter, she doesn't collect anymore. She's kind of like,
Mm,
I'm too old for this stuff.
no, no. She actually we like I think by the middle of this year, um, we redo her room, and she got rid of all her Barbies and stuff because my daughter is into dance, and she actually share with a lot of like older girls and stuff like that, right? So she's more now into makeup, uh, dresses, nice dresses,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And I understand and I get it. I mean, listen, she's an amazing little girl.
Yeah.
We are fortunate to have the daughter we have. She still enjoy everything I do. She went with me to PowerCon last year,
Well,
Yeah.
and she loved it, and she enjoyed what I do, and she loved to be out with me. She loved to go to the beach and stuff like that. She loved to go with me to the school to teach martial arts and everything, but
Yeah.
she's into something else, and I encourage her. She's into dance competition. We go with her like Alabama, this, there, you know, like we support her. But as I said, my wife said, and I'm very fortunate to have a very supportive wife.
Yeah. Me too.
I mean, she built this toy room for me, uh, and it is what it is. You know, like at the end of the day, like you said, to me, collecting is about having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, this stress. It's so funny because all my students, they don't picture myself as a toy collector or a
Yeah.
geek,
I
or
wouldn't either. If you're like my
they
jujitsu
look
instructor,
they look at me, and they make fun of me all the time. They're like, "Oh, professor, you're a geek,"
Yeah.
whatever, you know. And it's funny, but at the same time, I really enjoy what I do, and I never hide myself. You know, like the way I am. I'm
Mm-hmm.
original, and I show myself to everybody. I don't care. Um,
And that's the way it should be at all times. You know, you need to be yourself. You need to have fun. You need to do that kind of stuff. I get the same thing, and there's thousands of those types of stories now where you it's that Toys R Us type of thing. You don't want to grow up. I just want to be a kid. And we all grow up, but it's the extent of it. How much are you willing to give, and how much are you willing to take back? And I think going back to it is, I think the kids will get to that point, and they'll continue to grow and become themselves and adults, and then they'll, like I said, they'll remember things and what they like and what they want, and go back to remember what they did with their parents, or at a toy show, or what they watched at Saturday morning, sitting on the couch, you know, being lazy in their pajamas and all that kind of stuff, and just zoning out, because everybody has that story. And
yeah,
that's the nostalgic of it, and being a collector in general, because you know, my wife loves playing and putting together Legos, and there's certain Lego sets that we we see, and it like triggers something to where when she has the time, she will get that Lego set and then put it together and just zone out and just enjoy it. But at the same time, she knows that, you know, she's got her work schedule and family life and the regular chores of everyday stuff. And, you know, now we have 2 new dogs again, and it's everything. It's a combination of everything, but it's just a matter of finding what you like and what you want to enjoy and what you want to continue to enjoy. And I think the kids will find that. And I think having those experiences and bringing the kids with you to the shows and going to events and showing them, and the same thing too is why doing these type of shows and showing your friends or your students or your neighbors or your business partners, because I get that all the time where I tell people, I go, hey, I'm gonna be gone for the weekend. I won't be back till like Monday about such and such. And they're like, oh, where are you going? I go, well, I'm going to make an appearance at a toy convention. And, you know, people are kind of blown away because they look at me and they're like, you know, you're going to a toy convention? And I go, yep, I got to make an appearance and I'm, you know, doing this and I'm going to be on YouTube. And they're like, what do you do? Wait a second. What do you do now? And I go, well, my other job is I work for a toy company and I do the social media and all that kind of stuff. So my son just brought in all of his Pokemon.
Oh, those are the Pokemon cards.
Yeah, he's been waiting for the mailman like Santa Claus. And
do we have any special edition?
Did we get anything special? Get any super cool ones? Here, come back and sit over here a little bit.
That one.
Which one? Show him up there. What is it?
What is it?
What's his name? What is it?
Umbreon.
Umbreon?
Umbreon.
Looks cool.
Do you have any Charizard?
He said, do you have any Charizards?
Oh. You want to see how many Charizards I have?
He has lots of Charizards, he says.
That's a bunch.
You really want to see how many Charizards I have?
Show me.
You got him excited now. You're talking his language.
My favorite is Bulbasaur, actually.
He said Carlos said his favorite is Bulbasaur.
I have a Bulbasaur.
He has a Bulbasaur.
I have
Nice.
Venusaur too.
I have mine's Snorlax.
Mine has to be
I love Snorlax because he's just a giant bear panda thing that sleeps and then he just rolls on people and falls asleep again, and I just think that's freaking hilarious.
That's crazy. So,
Yeah.
Walter,
I have a Japanese Charizard.
oh, show me. You have that one there?
You have one?
Yep.
Where is it? Is this the one?
Yeah. Nope.
Let me see.
No,
That's
that's
not
not a
this one?
Japanese card.
Well, they can't see it. You're not on camera.
Yeah, because I got a finished card.
Oh, you got to finish. Oh, he's looking. He just got a giant pack of them, so he's just off camera, like right here, going through like the 7 million cards that he has now.
55 cards.
Only 55.
In the meantime,
Yeah.
I want you to tell us about Jasper, dude.
Oh,
We didn't talk about Jasper.
Fuzz, go get Jasper.
Okay.
Tell us the story.
So, man, Jasper is one of those things and characters that I started doing because collecting and enjoying all this and flying back and forth across the country. I hated shipping stuff. Here he comes. He's got his Hawaiian shirt on right now.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's on holiday.
He's on holiday.
He's on
He's on holiday,
vacation.
bud.
He's on vacation.
He's on break. Oh, did you find it?
Oh, cool.
That's
Look at
a
that one.
that's a cool one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Who's
But,
that black dragon?
That's a cool looking dragon. You got a couple more?
There's Charizard in there.
Charizard right there.
Right on. Jasper kind of started as a thing where I was going back and forth across the country a few times to like ZoloCon and all the other shows, and it just turned into one of those, like, I hated like mailing stuff. Like I would go to a show and all my friends would be like, hey man, you know, hanging out and if you want to mail something back, you know, if you want to mail something back, I'll mail it for you. And I go, oh, that's awesome. So I'd buy a few extra figures and just mail it back. Is another Charizard?
Yeah, this is Charizard.
Oh, they're all Charizards?
Wow, that's a lot.
Wow. That's a lot.
A whole collection.
Here's the Japanese Charizard.
There's a Japanese one.
Nice.
But so next thing you know, like instead of like mailing it with me, like I would at first I would bring like I had my backpack and overnight bag, and I would just throw a couple extra figures and cram them into the bag with all my, you know, my action figures and my socks and underwear and all that stuff, and I would just fly back with them, and it was just convenient to where I'd be on a plane and I would stop and pull it out of the bag that I had, and then and then I would just start playing with my action figures. And then me talking to everybody and anybody, I would just start talking to everybody and people would be like, oh, those are pretty cool. What do you got there? And then I would have a few flyers and stuff. Is that all of it?
Wow.
Cool.
That's a lot of charts.
I know. It's a lot of Charizard. Exactly.
So people are asking you about Jasper.
8, 9, 10, 11,
Uh-huh.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 16,
So
17,
I would
21.
have, he said he has 21 Charizards he got today.
But it's
Wow.
Fuzzy knows it's not information.
So
That's awesome.
I would fly back and forth with the figures, and I would, you know, I'd sit down, I'd reach in my backpack and
Oh, last one.
I just start playing with action figures and all that kind of stuff.
Then make that
Oh,
22.
that's cool.
And next thing you know, like people would ask me about it, and I'd sit in the hallways of you know, like Denver, and I'd be in Las Vegas just sitting at at the bar, and I'd pull out like a skeleton that I just bought. Usually I'd buy like a new Malleus and I'd set it up there and I'd just sit there and have a beer and play with it. And people would walk up and sit next to me because you have like an hour or two delay, and they'd ask me about it. And then when I started collecting and getting the trolls, and I just freaking love the trolls, and I would get usually a troll at a convention because they would be cheaper because they would, you know, I'd get my deal with them and then I wouldn't have to pay for shipping. So here I am getting my price and then bringing it with me to go home with. And I've always loved the stone troll. He was like the first one I got, and I would come home with him on the plane, and it's weird. Like I would unbox it because, you know, the boxes are huge, and I would unbox it, take apart the weapon and stuff it in my bag. And then I'd walk around with them and I'd carry them like this.
Like a baby.
Yeah, like a baby. And I'd walk through the TSA and people at TSA. No. But I'd walk through like TSA and the and everything, and people would ask me what that is, and I'd have a flyer with me from the show. I'd always carry a couple extra. And then it just kind of like slowly evolved from that to where it was just like, you know, I'd walk around with like Jasper to and from. I had an extra because I'd have one on my display, and then I had like an extra that I would bring with me, and then I would fly to a show and I'd show up with him, and then I'd take silly photos of him being on like the escalator or at the TSA agent, and he'd be holding his ticket, you know, like he's ready to go through line and all that kind of stuff. And I would post it on Instagram and Facebook, and, you know, like, oh, you know, the adventure of Jasper, and Jasper's name came from like the color of a stone that I use in landscaping. So it's a color of a rock that you could buy for landscaping. So he's Jasper, and it just sounded funny. And then, like I said, I would just go through the airports or go somewhere, and I'd walk around with him. And because he's, you know, he's this size, people would stop and look, and I'd get people would want to, look at it. So I would hand people the figure, and it gave that same kind of thing of like meeting somebody for the first time, that interaction of like, here, you know, play with my action figure. And I'd go through the whole spiel and talk about like, oh yeah, you know, hey, I work with a toy company, I do their social media, I do this, and this. And it was a great way of like breaking the ice of being that weird big guy walking through an airport or anywhere with a, you know, a 12-inch troll. And a lot of people would think it's from Lord of the Rings or excuse me, or Star Wars or whatever. And it was always funny. It was just kind of turned into one of those things, and then it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and you know, and interacting with people to where it was like more and more, you know, people would kind of see what he was up to and what kind of adventure I would take him on with me. But Jasper's flown across the country. This version of Jasper, he's flown across the country, God, like at least a dozen times.
Yeah. Everybody knows
Your travel buddy.
Yeah. He's and the one of the last times when I flew to it wasn't PowerCon, when I flew, I think it was it PowerCon? One of the last times I flew across the country, it was in Charlotte. Somebody recognized him. I had a guy in Sacramento airport that recognized me with Jasper because he followed me on Instagram, and I just thought that was the greatest thing. That's when I knew like it was genuinely crazy that like people like knew who I was, and somebody followed me and recognized me on Instagram at an airport, and then he introduced me to his aunt and his mom and everybody else, and go, I follow this guy on Instagram, he's hilarious, and he has this toy company he works for, and he, you know, he brought up his page and we took photos with each other, and you know, he was going to like vacation in Jamaica, and he took a picture with Jasper.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was the greatest, you know. I was just blown away. That's when I knew. I was like, wow, this is something, you know.
That's crazy.
That's cool. It's a small world, man.
Yeah.
So
Girl.
tell us what, aside from the Cabal on Facebook, where else can we follow you on social? Are you're on social chat? Are you on Twitter? Are you?
No, I don't do Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called now. I don't know. I just never did that one. I have a TikTok page. It's Mythic Legions Cabal. I make like simple photo posts and videos with music. Usually it's like some random like heavy metal music that I love, and I'll post like a silly photo or videos of me traveling, and that one's pretty fun. I do that randomly at times. It's not pretty, you know, nothing exciting. I think I got like 200 followers, and that's, I think, pretty cool in itself. I do
What's your
my
TikTok handle?
Instagram, the Cabal, right?
Yeah, TikTok, it's Mythic Legions Cabal, and it's fun, and I like it. I usually try to put up art, or I usually put up like the art or the latest promotion or studio photos, and I'll put it to some kind of crazy music. There's a few of me like goofing off and, you know, with my collection, or taking pictures with Jasper on TikTok. And then of course I have Instagram. I've got 3 pages on Instagram. I got myself, where it's Walter the Mad. I've got Mythic Legions Cabal and the Cosmic Cabal. I'm usually on Mythic Legions Cabal on Instagram all the time, and posting photos and reposting images and things like that, to where, you know, just helping promote it. That's just like I do on Facebook. And then, of course, I got Facebook. I've got all the Mythic Legions, the Mythic Legions Cosmic, Figure Obscura Cabal. I've got a few other pages that I've helped and I'm admin with. I've helped, God, with Facebook, I've helped over 20 different plus pages now get started, and and get going with everybody, you know, that does Mythic Legions and other toy lines, and I've helped other brands.
These are yours.
I've helped other brands even start doing Facebook, you know, get them started and helped out. So, but Mythic Legions Cabal and my Facebook page is mostly where I'm at and having fun and interacting and talking. So,
Well, man, thank you so much for this opportunity, because I know, I mean, you know, you are like a busy man also.
Yeah.
And you have your family stuff, and I know it's time that you can share with your family. Even we have your son here with us.
yeah,
But I mean, I hope I can find a way. Let me talk to the boss first.
yeah.
If I can get into the Legions Con this year. Jorge, I know it's gonna be a little bit hard for you to try to get there, but I'm definitely gonna
Unfortunately,
try
this
to.
year I can't.
I'm gonna try to shoot my last bullet there and see what. Especially if you tell me that you can find like a roommate or something like that, that would be great.
I know I'm like 90+% sure I know somebody that needs a roommate for a room and all that kind of stuff, to where it could definitely lower the cost way down on getting out there and hanging out and getting in and all that kind of stuff, and you know, that kind of stuff. And then, you know, if you need to go, like, you come find me, bro. We'll you know, we'll get you in. I'll get you in myself if I have to.
Thank you so much, man.
And I hope you guys can make it. I hope everybody can make it to Legions Con at some point. So
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely an experience that needs to be had. You know.
their wife and son are off camera. They're like, "We'll be there." So, but it's an experience. Like, I can't emphasize enough. Like, I hope you guys, you know, I hope everybody can make it, but I hope you guys can make it one day. And I hope, if anything, you know, it's just such a fun event and fun show to go to.
Indeed, it is.
I
Plus,
definitely
I'll
want
be giving
to.
away stuff.
I definitely want to do the Legions, that intern for a day next year, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I know a guy. Just depends on manipulating it and how we can get you in there, right?
Yeah. Well, I got some creative skills, so, you know, if I got to do some work, I'll earn my keep.
We'll figure it out. I'll negotiate it, right?
Awesome, man. All right, so it's been really awesome tonight, talking shop, you know, getting to know about the community, getting to know about, you know, how you started the whole cabal and the monster that it's become, right? It's such a community. It's one of the best communities I've ever seen. Non-toxic. Everybody treats you like family. You know, every time I post on there, everybody is always very helpful, whether it's if I have a question about a figure, how to, you know, switch a part out and stuff like that. There's always someone there that's willing to lend a hand, you know, and it makes sense because it originates from the nature of, you know, the founder, which is you. You're like such a friendly and approachable guy and so helpful, you know. So
I try.
You know, that's why the whole cabal kind of has that feeling of camaraderie, of family, brotherhood, and it's awesome, man. And yeah, dude, thanks so much for spending time with us tonight. I know we got to get back to our families. We got to go to work tomorrow, but it's been awesome, dude, and can't wait to see what's going to be revealed at Legions Con this year. We'll definitely be staying in touch. Carlos, hopefully you can make it out, man. Oh, that's an awesome ring, dude.
You get your camera.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Man.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. You have a good night, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Thanks, you guys.